video, and it looked like Marina Mabrey has broken her silence finally about shoving Caitlin Clark.
Marina Mabrey admits she overreacted shoving Caitlin Clark, and
one shove, and suddenly we're talking about questions over league leadership, potential legal scrutiny, and cable news outrage. Marina Mabrey says the flagrant upgrade happened because of fan reaction, not the play itself, and insists she and Clark are cool. No personal beef, just competition. Here's what actually happened. In the third quarter, JC Sheldon accidentally pokes Clark in the eye. Moments later, Mabrey shoves Clark to the floor. That quick sequence lit a match online, eventually sparking a Wall Street Journal piece speculating about a possible civil rights lawsuit over Clark's treatment.
Marina Mabrey is trying to moonwalk back said incident now that somebody's actually talking about actual government involvement.
Now, Mabrey is facing both sympathy and criticism. Some say the public mood has shifted because of the legal talk and the outrage cycle. But where did all this start, and how did it snowball so fast? Let's rewind and break it down.
You absolutely know the Marina Mabrey Caitlin Clark situation.
It all unfolded fast. In the third quarter, after JC Sheldon's hand caught Caitlin Clark in the eye, she's still reacting when the attention shifts to Marina Mabrey. Seconds later, the scoreboard shows her foul bumped up to a flagrant 2. Take a look at the play.
She can't guard you. She can't guard you.
This wasn't during a loose ball scramble or a drive to the rim. Play wasn't even active, which is why that shove landed so differently on camera and instantly became the moment everyone wanted to rewind.
It wasn't a shove. It was, I'm going to drive my entire body into your body.
Here's the sequence. Sheldon and Clark get just tangled enough for Sheldon's hand to make direct contact with Clark's face. You can debate intent, but before anyone can process it, Mabrey storms in. No hesitation, drops her shoulder, uses both hands, and sends Clark down hard. Clark's back hits the hardwood. Her hand goes to her face, and that's the image frozen in everyone's feed. Not a fight for position, not a collision in motion, just a deliberate hit outside of live play.
That play by her, it wasn't even a play. Again, there was no play going on. That, I mean, you could call, I mean, look, if this happened out in public, some places, like, for example, where I live, if you did this to somebody, the cops are taking you to jail.
Mabrey's explanation. She insists the officials didn't upgrade the foul purely on the act itself. I thought it only got upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of the way the fans reacted to it, she said after. She doubled down that she and Clark were cool and claimed there was no bad blood, adding she probably overreacted a little bit. The way she frames it, it's just competition, defending her teammate after seeing what she thought was rough contact from Clark towards Sheldon earlier in the game.
When addressing a commentator on the Instagram live stream who called her out for shoving Clark. Quote, I thought it only got upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of the way the fans reacted to it. Mabrey said of the shove on Clark, they gave me a technical for it initially. I don't care, honestly. I really don't. Obviously, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to go after certain players for certain shit.
But the visual didn't agree with the tone of her defense. On television and in the clips flooding social media, you don't hear backstory or context. You just see the league's most talked about rookie lying on her back, wincing while Mabrey walks away. That's gonna hit differently for any viewer, and it's part of why the moment exploded the way it did. And she even tried to emphasize that she and Caitlin Clark are actually close friends, repeating that there's no real beef between them. Listen to her here.
Me and Caitlin were cool. Me and Caitlin have competed against each other in the playoffs. She threw me into the benches in the quarterfinals. We didn't go after her for it. She's competitive. I was about trying to get the ball. I get it. Throw me out of bounds. We got back up and kept competing. Yeah, but the problem is when this incident happened, you were not competing.
That's right, it didn't even look like a basketball play. It came off as intentional, maybe driven by frustration or dislike. She went further, offering a subtle, almost staged apology, saying that she overreacted.
Mabrey concluded, so at the end of the day, it was a play on the ball when she did it, and I probably overreacted a little bit.
Even with Mabrey admitting to overreacting a bit, there's an undeniable gap between her words and the way the hit played in slow motion. It wasn't a box out gone wrong. It wasn't an accidental bump. It was a hard, intentional body check during a stoppage. And that's exactly the type of contact that lights up highlight reels for all the wrong reasons. If she says they're cool and there's no intent to harm, why did this become a national talking point? Because that shove wasn't the end of it. The reaction it triggered, we inside the arena and beyond, set off a chain of responses that made sure this game was remembered for more than the score. And what happened next would take the tension from one heated flashpoint and carry it straight into the next quarter, where things only escalated further.
It is too late for that crap. And look, all I can do is speculate, but is there a little panic there?
1 quarter after Mabrey's shove, the Fever answer back hard. Sophie Cunningham locks onto JC Sheldon, grabs her and throws her to the floor. No disguise, no attempt to play it off as a basketball move. Just like the earlier hit, it happens well outside the actual flow of the game. At this point, whatever this is, it's not about chasing the ball, it's about making sure the other side feels it. The sequence is now set in stone. Sheldon's eye poke on Clark, Mabrey's retaliatory shove, Cunningham's payback on Sheldon a quarter later. A revenge loop, plain and simple. One hit prompts another, and each one is just a little bigger than the last. And because all of this is happening outside live play, it comes across as calculated, not heat of the moment collisions.
Hey, let her know, Caitlin! Oh yeah, I like it!
Officials weren't blind to it. Technicals were handed out on the floor, and in Mabrey's case, the shove was later upgraded to a flagrant 2 after the clip made its rounds. She's the one who said herself that fan reaction online is what pushed the refs to upgrade it, which lines up with how fast the whole thing exploded beyond the court.
Marina Mabrey's technical foul from the Fever Sun game has been upgraded to a flagrant 2, the league told ESPN. A flagrant 2 comes from a standard fine.
You could frame it like some old school NBA grudge match. Pundits have already done that, except back then, a couple of hard fouls might slide without so much as a whistle. Here, every shove is getting dissected on social media before the players have even set up on the next possession. That constant amplification changes the stakes. The bigger question hanging over it is Caitlin Clark being targeted, or is this just what happens to any rising star when the competition turns personal? Watch enough of her games this season and you see it. Hard off-ball screens, shoulder bumps, subtle elbows, stuff that probably won't draw a whistle but lingers after contact, and most of it's happening far from any scoring attempt. It's no wonder the just competition argument starts to sound thin when the clips keep piling up.
Such as I can't stand the eye gouges and the clotheslines from Angel Reese and all that other, which is blatant targeting, in my opinion. But at least there was actual basketball movement happening at the time. But these other 3 incidents, I believe, is what gave some validity to the idea of a hostile work environment in the WNBA.
What began as 3 quick hits between players snowballed fast. Clips replayed online, outrage spreading. And suddenly it wasn't just basketball anymore. It became headlines, legal talk, lawsuits, and debates over league leadership. Now the spotlight's on why Marina Mabrey spoke up after the Caitlin Clark shove and nearly apologized. Was it panic, strategy, or pressure?
I believe that Mabrey now, that is Marina, is in a bit of a panic.
That turn happened fast when the Wall Street Journal published a viral piece on August 3rd examining whether Clark's treatment in the WNBA could point to a hostile workplace, even raising the possibility of civil rights issues. Suddenly, the discussion wasn't just about a flagrant foul. The story had shifted into legal and political territory, with the commissioner's leadership squarely in the crosshairs.
It says the WNBA and Caitlin Clark civil rights. That was the first really motion to the carousel, man, that kind of got things going here. It was produced on August 3rd by Sean McLean. He was the one who kind of broke the story nationally.
This wasn't a quick blog or opinion piece. It was written in the language of workplace law, questioning if league culture itself was creating the conditions for the tension we've been seeing.
Immediately after this, we had none other than Stephen A. Smith go on his podcast and speak about the current state and how he feel in regards to this thing growing legs. Now, Stephen A. Smith Another power move play, sending shockwaves throughout the sports world and throughout social media about Caitlin Clark and this damn lawsuit.
That's right. As soon as the news broke, Stephen A. Smith had plenty to say about the lawsuit, and it went mega viral. But that wasn't all.
Yesterday, to me, I think this was the final stab in the back of the WNBA commissioner, that is Fox News, basically targeting the commissioner, letting them know that this lies on her.
Other media outlets and high-profile voices seized on it. Commentators called Brian Kilmeade on Fox, and elsewhere argued that if this were the NBA, Adam Silver would have publicly addressed it by now, framing the WNBA's silence as weak leadership or willful inaction.
Zero. They've almost said nothing. You don't even hear any outrage. If this was Adam, this was the guys, and they were beating up LeBron. Adam Silver would have spoken out already. I don't know what's happening. But
he went forward and compared Clark's arrival to a Pele-level jolt for a sport, pointing out that when a player has that kind of impact, they're usually embraced and protected, not met with friction.
I've never seen such resentment. It reminds me, for example, nobody cared about soccer in the 70s until Pele came here. Next thing you know, you had 77,000 people at Giant Stadium. No one tried to kill Pele. Yeah, they played him harder, but they said thank you. Even the opponents, my goodness, everybody's salary jacked up. David Beckham comes to the MLS. They had the bigger crowd at his press conference, so they had most MLS games. There was my goodness, this 32-year-old superstar brought all the stardom to this league. There was some people who wanted to look good against him, but they didn't resent him. But here's this woman who comes into this league as a legitimate rookie.
He went on to talk about her impact and linked the massive spike in fan engagement directly to her, with some reports saying ratings have jumped nearly 200% and attendance is up about 14% since she arrived. In that context, Marina Mabrey's sudden round of interviews makes more sense. The shove clip was still everywhere, the WSJ piece was dominating the conversation, and now the narrative wasn't just about a single ejection. It was about whether her actions were an example of a bigger systemic problem. Painting it as an overreaction without personal malice could just as easily be about damage control as it is about defending herself from further league action.
Something's got to give on those fronts. And now Marina Mabrey is trying to moonwalk back said incident now that somebody's actually talking about actual government involvement, of which that play by her, it wasn't even a play. Again, there was no play going on.
At the same time, some fans and pundits were pushing what they're calling the Yukon Mafia theory, the idea that certain alumni networks, especially from the University of Connecticut, have disproportionate influence on league culture and decisions. Nothing verified, but it's a claim that's buzzing online, and when people pair it with footage of Clark taking hits, to them it feels like one more piece of a bigger puzzle.
You guys heard him. He said if this was the NBA or a guy, Adam Silver would have spoken out already last year. And I'm telling you right now, for Kathy to be silent, and we've been saying this time after time. Again, Kathy, what's the word? Kathy, why you ain't saying nothing? I'm telling you right now. Told y'all, I've been like kind of investigating all of this. Kathy is scared to speak out because this goes back to the Yukon blue blood whistle.
And here's the reality driving the intensity. Clark is pulling record numbers across the board. More merchandise, more ticket sales, more people tuning in than the WNBA has seen in years. She should be the safest bet for the league to back. Instead, her presence is stirring locker room divides, fueling debates over favoritism, and making every bit of contact on the court a flashpoint for arguments about how this league treats its stars.
We didn't go after her for it. She's competitive. I was about trying to get the ball. I get it. Throw me out of bounds. We got back up and kept competing. Yeah, but the problem is when this incident happened, you were not competing. There was not actual basketball being played. There was not. Mabrey concluded, so at the end of the day, it was a play on the ball when she did it, and I probably overreacted a little bit. But my teammate is getting hit. No, she's trying to get her away from her.
Mabrey has already gone on record saying she probably overreacted and that the penalty's severity came from fan reaction, not the shove itself. So was this just one bad moment or a sign of something much bigger happening under the surface? This was more than a random shove. It exposed tensions that were already there and dragged them into the national spotlight. You've got ratings up 200% and attendance up 14%, but that kind of growth comes with a spotlight not everyone in the league wants. Some players have leaned into it, others look like they resent it. Keep an eye on how the league handles discipline here, and whether there are any follow-ups to that WSJ piece. Those moves will tell us if this stays a one-off or gets treated as a bigger culture issue. What do you think? Heat of the moment overreaction, or proof there's something deeper? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, like the video and subscribe.